Welcome to Michigan Golf Live Television. I'm Bill Hobson, and today we present to you a program unlike any we've ever done before. It's a story of inspiration, of care, of selflessness, of patriotism, and a little bit of golf thrown in along the way. We'll tell you all about the cause of Kali's cure for paralysis as Michigan Golf Live Television gets underway.
Welcome to Michigan Golf Live Television, shining the spotlight on the greatest places to stay, play, and enjoy the greatest game on earth. MGL-TV is brought to you by Antigua, apparel for your game. Historic Grand Hotel on Mackinac Island. The Golf Association of Michigan. And by Grand Traverse Resort and Spa. Stay connected to MGL 24/7 on Facebook, Twitter, and free podcast of MGL Radio, heard live across Michigan every Saturday morning. MGL TV starts now.
We are glad to have you with us on Michigan Golf Live Television. Today's story is a bit unusual. It's unlike any we've ever done before. It actually begins on July 9th of 2006 on a gorgeous afternoon much like this, on a lake much like this. A young lady by the name of Kali Pung was out on the water with her friends, and they had just enough time left for one last jump in to cool off before they ended their time out on the water. And that last jump was one that forever changed the life of Kali, her family, and so many others around her. Today's program includes a little bit of golf and a whole lot of inspiration as we introduce you to Kali's cure for paralysis.
Kali was on the boat with 3 other girls from Aerotech, her friends, on Pontiac Lake. The last dive of the day it was going to be, well, it was the last dive. Anyway, the boat had drifted and it was 25 inches or 26 inches of water. 3 kids broke their neck that day on Pontiac Lake. The girls on the boat, one jumped in and held Kali. The other one's 911, how do we do CPR, which only has a 7% effectivity rate. Anyway, but it was working, I guess. They thought she was gone, but they held her neck. They were screaming, and there were 2 RNs on the next boat. The RNs came over and took over. And then the little paramedics came. The firemen got her ashore, and the little girls that were the paramedics drove past 3 hospitals to go to Beaumont. So for a few days, we thought, wow, she isn't going to make it. But we spent 32 days there. We never left her. And so one of us stayed in the room 24 hours a day.
I look back and I remember probably the hardest thing for me in the first few days was the fact that I knew I had to tell my daughter that she was never going to not just walk. She was paralyzed. She was never going to breathe on her own. She was never going to do anything. And I thought, how am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? And I walked in her room one day and she said, yeah, I've got a major problem, don't I? And I thought, oh, okay. She said, that's okay. Dad and Mike, her brother, they told me, Mom.
For an awful lot of us, that announcement of permanent paralysis would have been a game changer, if not a game ender. But for Kali Pung, it served as a moment of motivation. She would now, forevermore from this point forward, begin helping other people nonstop.
Shortly after we got home, it was a few months, and it might have been the deal with Aerotech doing a golf outing for her the first year. The company did it, and she got excited, and then I'm going to do it. And you don't have to tell Kali how to do something. She'll figure it out on her own. So she set up her own board of directors. I've never been on the board. I don't get involved in that. But everything she's done, the $2 million that she'll end up with by the end of this year, or this outing, it's because of she and her board members and all the wonderful, generous people giving all the money. And they make all the decisions, who gets it and where it goes, and her expenses are 3% or less. 75, 85% is the norm. Kali is 2 or 3%. Nothing has ever gone, not one dime for Kali.
Yeah, after her accident, she said she needed to do something to keep her sanity, so that was for her helping other people. As you'll see this weekend, it's all of our friends, people that we don't even know, that just come together, volunteer their time, their money, so that basically every dollar, 97% of every dollar that people donate goes to the cause. So very little overhead and just people's hard work and dedication that make it all possible. And that Kaylee runs it from her bed. I mean, she's the brains behind it. She does everything.
And none of it's for her.
None of it. Not a dime. Our board is great. Everybody treats the money as if it was their own, so they want to make the best decision with the funds that we get.
What's it mean to you to see your sister and the foundation helping out the wounded warriors to the degree that they do?
It's awesome. I'm so proud of her, so proud of all the veterans that she helps. It's amazing to be, involved in it in any small way.
All you have to do is meet Kaylee and you're immediately drawn in, but I've known her whole life. I was there, probably not at the hospital, but right afterwards, after she was born. So I've known Mike and Kaylee their whole lives, and I always thought that Kaylee I knew she was going to be a success, and now she's had this accident, and she is. Maybe even a bigger success than she had ever anticipated. She doesn't think about what her affliction is when she's working on something. It's all, how can I generate funds to help other people with spinal cord injury, which we all know she's done a really good job.
She's not selfish. She's the last person. She doesn't even consider herself in the equation. And she's reaching out all over the United States, all over the world. She's helped children in different countries that, an organization that can't afford anything or don't even know that all of these options are out there for them. And even in our country, there are so many options for people and they don't even realize that. And Kaylee gets that message out there. She finds innovative things. She finds essential items for organizations to bring to light to help others.
Coming up a bit later in this edition of MGL-TV, you'll meet some of those people helped by Kaylee's Cure. But when we return, we'll talk golf and showcase the beautiful Dunmaglas Golf Club in Charlevoix, site of the Kaylee's Cure golf outing. Welcome back to Michigan Golf Live Television and our showcase of Kaylee's Cure, a very special cause with a very special young lady at the center of it. You have learned some of her story in the early moments of the program, but now we turn our attention to golf and a beautiful setting here in Charlevoix at Dunmaglas Golf Club, where you can basically see forever on a perfect day in northern Michigan. Now, for this special occasion, the entire course is overtaken for this outing. But you have an open invitation to come here and play whenever you're up north. And might I say, the views here are unbeatable. Speaking of views, we move over to the 15th tee where we see one of the great Michigan PGA professionals of all time, Dan Pohl from Mount Pleasant. How are you, sir?
Oh, great, Bill. And you're not just a kid. And this is the 14th hole here at Dunmaglas. So as you can see back behind us, the tail end or the north end of Lake Charlevoix, and it is quite a day when it's like this. This golf course really stands out.
When I get up this high, all of my
everything
thoughts,
goes.
Everything goes.
This 14th hole obviously is the highlight of the golf course itself, but it's not only visually stimulating golf course, but you really have to bring your A game to here. This is not a golf course for the faint of heart. You got a lot of really undulating up and down motion here that I don't think a lot of people knew was around this Charlevoix area, but it's quite a test of golf.
In its early days, Dunmaglas was known for being a really, really difficult golf course, maybe to the point that it was unfair and kind of got that reputation. And then Mr. Pung came in, took it over, and did some softening up so that it's a whole lot more enjoyable now for the everyday player.
Yeah, I think, I think the idea was let's make the highest slope rating in Michigan and see what the players think of it. And unfortunately, when you are going day-to-day fee course, you need to have the playability there. And I actually came up with Mike. Mike, I've known him for a long time. He said, hey, what do you think of the golf course? I said, well, there are holes where if you put it in certain spots, you can't play from. So we took a few of the bunkers out, made some grassy areas to soften it up a bit. But, the good thing about this golf course is that it gives you some play area off the tee. It's not like you're dominated. This one is relatively tight here at 14, but you can lay back. But most of the holes give you plenty of area to hit to off the tee. But then it's that second shot that for a player like myself, that's what I like. I like the challenge of trying to figure out, those elevation change to a degree, but also the slope around the greens will really kind of catch you, especially on the par fives. The par fives are probably more green-wise, have a lot more slope in them, which again, for shorter third shots, that's not a bad thing.
Here in northern Michigan, we're all very familiar with beautiful courses, and sometimes great ones can be lost in the shuffle.
Mm-hmm.
This is a really good golf course. This is the one where you bring your camera with you.
I think when you look at a golf course design, you have to find out who your clients are. And unfortunately, when you're a lot of people are trying to make golf a little easier, a little more open spaces, and which I'm not a big fan of, just making everything so easy. You want a challenge in this game. But this particular piece of property wouldn't have done it justice to do, just open up everything. I think because of the vistas and the change of elevation, whether there's as many good holes going up the hills here as there is down. And so that's, to me, the value of a good golf course, is to give you that playability and that change of pace within it. A lot of different, in these wind conditions, they can get swirling through here. It'll change on a daily basis, and it's not a golf course, like I said, that you play once, and if you play bad, you decide you're never going to come back to. This is one you want to go back to, because a hole like this, the first time you see it, you're more caught up in the visual than you are the playing of the hole. So I think people got to give a golf course like this a little bit more time to kind of take hold of them.
Well, it certainly is beautiful, and there is a great challenge to be found all throughout the course. You play in approximately 5 million charitable events every year, and I know that this Kali's Cure, has become near and dear to your heart. Why is that?
Well, you're right. I play in a lot of charity events, and we're asked from the golf standpoint to do a lot of them, and I love doing them. But this is a personal connection that I can't even sometimes dig down, and I get emotional about, because I have the opportunity to go to dinner at the Pungs, go sit with Kali, discuss, certain aspects of this event, and I see what a young lady that has accomplished that was thrown, a tough thing, the whole family. And I have a daughter about Kali's age, and I always wonder, what would a family do? What would I do? How would that have changed the dynamics of our family, and being, in a situation where you had to really give up your life, as Mike and Alice have done. It's that 40-second rule. Can you imagine having to have round clock care 40 seconds?
And let me define that for our viewers. In the Pung family, the rule is Kali is not to be left alone for any more than 40 seconds at a time, ever.
And again, I got involved with this, started out as the family atmosphere, and I love that. But there's so many charity events that we do. But I've just, there's something about when she smiles and when she puts, her heart is in this. And as we've mentioned over and over again, 98% of what is raised goes to helping others. There's no charity event in the world that does that. If you can take a chance and look on Kali'sCures.com and see what this young lady does, your heart will go with her also.
What is it about this cause that's grabbed your heart?
Number one, Kali, her determination, her attitude, her positive nature about what's happened to her, never giving up, the spirit. It's indomitable, and it's infectious. And to see what she does for other people, she doesn't do it for herself. I mean, this is a person who's got every right to feel sorry for herself, and her family could do the same, but they don't. They raise money for other people, to help out soldiers, to help out other people with spinal cord injuries. And to see that kind of dedication is just so uplifting and remarkable that you just get energized. And when we do the auction every year, I get pumped.
I know you do.
I wear myself out on it, because I want to raise money for it, and hopefully we'll do better than ever this year.
I haven't met the person yet who says no to Kali. Have you come across him?
No, and I was talking to somebody at her parents' house last night. They always have this great gathering at their cottage, and they have every person who comes to the tournament show up.
Yeah.
And I was telling them, I said, we got our work cut out. We got to raise $22,000 to buy a track chair for a veteran this year. And I said, I'm a little worried how we're going to go about that. We can't just pass my hat again like we did a couple of years ago for batteries for diaphragmatic pacers. We got 3,000 that way, just passing my golf hat around the room. So we're not going to get 22 grand that way. He said, Frank, you got to understand something. People don't come here looking for items, looking for deals. They come here to give to a cause.
Yeah.
And they've got a number in mind that they want to donate. And you'll have no problem getting $22,000 for this. And I went, yeah, thank you so much. It's unbelievable what people will do.
The volunteer staff, the organization, the effort that goes into putting this event on is all driven by a young lady who can't move anything from her neck down, but her insides are still ticking perfectly.
And her brain, my goodness. If you and I had a brain like that, we'd really be dangerous. And this young lady is driven, and you've talked to her boss on your radio show, Bill, and how far she would have gone in the business at Aerotech. She was on the fast track moving up that organization. Every job she had, she was promoted shortly thereafter because she excelled at it. And she still has that same strength of mind at work that keeps this foundation going and brings that same determination she brought to her job to this foundation.
Somewhere in this program, we will hear from Admiral Tom Parker, who told me if he had 1,000 Kali Pungs, he could change the world.
Amen.
And we're doing it one at a time.
You betcha. Just like Kali's cure for paralysis is one step at a time.
This special day for Kali's Cure golf outing is another reminder of how golf and golfers are such amazingly generous people. A full golf course, generous hearts, and open wallets make a huge difference, not in the life of Kali, but in the lives of those she and her foundation help. Are you as amazed as I am by the scope and the impact of this golf outing?
Yes and no. In some respects, sure, but knowing Kali, knowing all the people that knew Kali, that loved Kali, and that's why the first couple of years when I looked at this, I said, these people all love Kali. That's why they're here. It isn't because we're giving away a car. It's not because we weren't giving away anything. It was costing everybody a fortune to do it. But they wanted to, and the things that Kali, why she does it, and that when she takes in $1,000, $998 goes to whatever it is we're doing.
I have always wanted to be a golf announcer and be able to speak in this whisper. And that's exactly the opportunity we have with that beautiful chip shot that may go down, but it doesn't, during the Kali's Cure outing at Dunmaglas. When we come back on MGL-TV, we're going to take a moment to tell you exactly what it is Kali's Cure does to impact the lives of others. They truly are changing lives, and it all gets started at this annual golf event. We're back after this. One of the things many of us tend to take for granted is the ability to just take in a deep breath without having to think about it or be connected to machinery. For Kali Pung and those who have suffered from spinal cord injuries, it's not that simple. And there is a revolutionary doctor in Cleveland by the name of Dr. Raymond Anders, who has created the diaphragmatic pacer. And for Kali Pung and many others like her, it's literally been a lifesaver.
Hello. I wish I could have been in Lake Charlevoix with all of you and Kali, but I couldn't make it up there this year. I will make it next year for the 10th annual event though. I know all of you know how special Kali is, and I'm blessed to have met her. She has helped so many people. Part of her mission statement is in helping individuals who are afflicted with the disability of spinal cord injury. With all of your help, she will surpass $2 million raised. This is a remarkable accomplishment. She has supported my research into helping spinal cord injured patients breathe with their own diaphragm, which is groundbreaking. We have found that earlier electrical stimulation helps the body to recover from their injury, and in some of these patients, they can then recover their own breathing. Many of you have heard me tell stories over the years of the young children we have helped breathe without the use of the ventilator through diaphragm pacing. This would not have been possible without the generosity of Kali's Cure and all of you.
We're here to talk about how Kali's Cure has impacted our family. Today we are at Life Beyond Barriers, where Isaac has been coming for therapy for about 8 years. Kali's Cure has been instrumental in helping LBB obtain some of the awesome therapy equipment that you see today. And on April 6, 2011, Dr. Anders performed the procedure to implant Isaac with the diaphragm pacing system. It was the best decision we could have ever made. I can't even begin to tell you the benefits of diaphragm pacing as compared to breathing with a ventilator. It would take a way longer amount of time than this short interview will allow. Just know that it was life-changing in the best possible way, and Kali was an integral part in getting Isaac to where he is today.
Hi, I'm Jamie Dancer. I'm one of Kali's best friends. I live in Florida, so I wasn't able to be interviewed, but I still wanted to be part of the show. I wanted to say a little bit about Kali and what Kali's Cure means to me. She wanted to help people. She set her mind to do great things and to make a difference in people's lives, and that's exactly what she's done. As soon as she was well enough, she developed Kali's Cure, and in the last 10 years has done more with her life, has helped more people, raised more money than most people could imagine doing in their lifetime. And I know that she's not done. Each time I see her, she has bigger plans, she has more ideas, and she seems stronger, and she wants to help more and more people, and she's just amazing. I know that when there is a cure for paralysis, Kali and Kali's Cure will be a part of it. I'm proud to say that I know Kali. I'm proud to call her my hero, and I'm proud to be a part of Kali's Cure, so keep up the good work.
For someone like Kali, where every day is, just breathing on her own is a concern. It's incredible how she thinks outside of her own needs and has really been devoted to helping better the lives of others.
The work she does to organize her event is probably tenfold better than any event I ever had to organize. I mean, the young lady, of course, does it from her chair, and what she has been able to do over the years it'll just bring a tear to your eye, really. I would have loved to have about 1,000 Kalis working for me, I'll tell you that.
Throughout the program, you have heard words like inspiration, patriotism, tirelessness, and selflessness, all geared towards this young lady next to me. Finally, we get to meet the star of Kali's Cure, Kali Pung, and I just have a couple of questions for you. And the first one is one that I'm sure everybody is asking. Why is it that you do all of these things, the golf outing and the fundraising, and all of it's for other people? Why do you do that?
Well, I've seen the best and the worst that medicine has to offer. Obviously, my life changed in a moment without notice. And I think that because I've experienced so many great things, I am driven to get those things back. But I've also had support too. But I realize other people don't have. And because of that, I want to do more to help those people, to help find a cure. And in fact, in a little bit of a selfish way, it gives me something to do. I get to keep my competitive spirit alive. And so it does offer me something in a selfish way as well, I guess.
We're not going to let you use the word selfish regarding yourself, but I know what you mean, right? It's a reason to keep pushing forward.
It is. It's a way to give back. I've always been very patriotic. Kali's Cure is not simply a military organization. Whenever we can, we like to help our wounded veterans, and that's a way to give back to those who have served. I was hanging out with friends, enjoying a day that I was able to enjoy because of the sacrifice of others. When I see them, it motivates me to keep giving and do what I can to try to get others involved. I look at it as a way to bring people together. It's not me that's donating the money. It's a bunch of wonderful, generous people who have rallied together to really try to bring this cause to the center of attention and really bring more light and to let a lot of people know about paralysis. And that's what we're trying to make a difference.
It has been an absolute honor and delight to present to all of you the story of Kali Pung and Kali's Cure for Paralysis. I know it's a show a little bit different from anything we've ever done, but every once in a while that's kind of good because golfers are a caring group of people, and I know your hearts have been touched by the inspiration, patriotism, and the willingness to serve others that you have seen in today's program. My assignment for you is simple. Just go to kaliscure.org and find a way that you can plug into this wonderful foundation. As Admiral Porter said a little bit earlier in the program, if we just had 1,000 Kali Pungs, we could change the world. Well, if a couple of you can match her passion for helping other people, we can start in our own backyard. Thanks for sticking with us for a special episode of MGL-TV. We'll see you next time. And until then, kaliscure.org is your assignment.